Hello, everyone. Welcome to Health Authority TV. I'm Janan Sarwar. I'm the new deputy editor for Health Authority Books, a new partnership between Indie Books International and Global Bookshelves International. It's my honor to introduce you to our guest today. From pharmaceutical sales to pioneering the future of medical affairs, Dr. William Soliman, founder and CEO of the Accreditation Council for Medical Affairs, or ACMA, has truly reshaped the industry. With nearly 2 decades in pharma and biotech, he's built innovative platforms and led transformative initiatives in medical affairs and technology. Join us today as we dive into his journey, the evolution of the industry, and his vision for healthcare. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you today?
Thanks, Jan. Pleasure to be here. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, start to tell us if I left anything out from your bio, who do you really serve as a health authority leader?
Thanks so much. So the ACMA, the organization that I founded now, it's crazy, it's over 10 years ago. We serve the pharmaceutical biotech space, the healthcare systems that we work with. And what we do really is the ACMA, we're the leaders really in life sciences accreditation, certification, and training. So what we do is we go out and we certify, train, accredit pharmaceutical companies, biotech companies, a lot of the healthcare systems, and we focus on a few different areas. So for the pharma biotech companies, we work mainly with a group called Medical Affairs, which is the area within the pharmaceutical companies that's involved in data generation, data dissemination to healthcare providers, to key opinion leaders. So we certify all their medical science liaisons or medical affairs professionals. The program that we're known for is the Board Certified Medical Affairs Specialist, or the BCMAS program. That's the number one program in the world, actually, when it comes to accreditation and certification of that field. We also work with the commercial side in the pharmaceutical companies. So we work with people in market access, we work with people in field reimbursement and sales. And we have, again, the number one program, the only accredited program for pharmaceutical sales reps, as well as for field reimbursement professionals and patient access professionals. We have a program called the Prior Authorization Certified Specialist, or PACS program. So that's a program that actually incorporated all the top 100 companies in the country. And we work with a lot of the healthcare systems. Their prior auth specialists also get certified through our program. Because as you know, prior authorization denials are the number one reason for care delay in America. Number one reason. Actually, unfortunately, the murder of that United Healthcare CEO, which is a terrible situation, it was because that patient was frustrated because they weren't denied care. Obviously, I'm not justifying that anyone should go do any vigilante justice, but it just speaks to the frustration I think that a lot of people have in America around prior authorization denial, which I think is one of the reasons why our PACS program is very, very popular among pharma biotech companies, because it helps them to streamline access to medications for patients, and on the healthcare side, because patients are frustrated, they want their medication. So that's really what we do in effect at the ACMA.
For whatever reason, I was muted, but I was really intrigued to hear that, I understand whether there's someone that's an individual, there's different accreditation that you can provide, and then even as far as different organizations, companies, pharma, biotech. So the services, so you told me more a little bit about who you serve and then the specific services. You the PACS program is one of them. What are some of the other key programs, if you could just recap them so we
Yeah,
could hear it again?
sure. There's four key programs that the ACMA offers that have really become the benchmark of excellence in the industry. So one is the Board Certified Medical Affairs Specialist Program, or BCMAS. That's for
Yes.
your medical science liaisons, your medical affairs professionals. Two is the Prior Authorization Certified Specialist Program, or PACS. That's for your field reimbursement professionals, prior authorization specialists, people that work in patient access. Three is the Pharmaceutical Rep Certification Program. So that's for pharmaceutical sales reps. And the number four is our Certified Specialty Pharmaceutical Program. This is for specialty pharma reps. And as you may or may not know, most of the drugs that are being approved today in the pipeline from the FDA are specialty products. So we created a specialty sales certification program for that particular area.
That's really incredible. So, and people are hearing about these. all of these different accreditation or programs or certifications, how are they hearing about you? Are you teaching or informing students when they're young that these are opportunities? Or if there's someone that's a healthcare provider out there wanting to make a transition, how would they know about you or could they join any of what you're doing?
Sure. So the ACMA, we do a lot in the industry. We have a lot of educational webinars. We provide a lot of resources. We have a team that works and collaborates with pharma companies. Actually, next month on March 6th, we have a summit, the Medical Affairs Leadership Summit, where we have leaders from all the top pharmaceutical companies coming live in New Jersey to meet for a day. We're going to have an award celebration at the end of the day. So we try to do a lot to engage the community, the pharma biotech community. We also, to your question about students, the ACMA works with tons of pharmacy schools around the country. Many of the pharmacy schools, they actually implement one of our programs called the MAC. Not like the Big Mac, a different MAC. It stands for the Medical Affairs Competency Certificate, the MAC. And the MAC is, think of it as a primer really that helps pharmacy students that are interested in wanting to work in the pharmaceutical industry. So they usually will implement our program as an elective course for pharmacy students, usually in their third year, their fourth year, as an elective course. They go through the certification, and now they have a foundation for knowledge for when they're going to apply for jobs in the industry. So it's great. We've really been very privileged to work with many pharmacy schools. Actually, the ACMA is also a rotation site
Okay.
for many pharmacy schools. So we have our offices in New Jersey, right outside of Manhattan, and many of the pharmacy schools send their students for the rotations, for their industry rotation, to come to the ACMA. We've enjoyed that very much.
That's incredible. And, the more I think, and I know we've talked about pharmacy, but just in healthcare in general, and even when you mentioned the medical science liaison position, you don't have to have a pharmacy degree to do that, right? You can have other health degrees. So do you mind talking a little bit about that and even your own journey to being the position that you're in? Because we've
Yeah,
talked about
sure.
ACMA, but I guess I want to know a little bit more about you too.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. So yeah, quick note about the medical science liaison
Yeah.
role. It's a very, high demand role. Everybody wants to be a medical science liaison, and you're absolutely right. You don't have to be a pharmacist, but most of them are pharmacists.
Okay.
Most medical liaisons are PharmDs. If you look at the data from the ACMA, we have the largest database of MSL professionals, medical affairs professionals in the world, because we have learners in over 80 countries actually. So what we see is that the majority of people who are MSLs are pharmacists, then it's PhDs, then it's MDs. And then you have a mix of nurse practitioners, physician assistants, DOs, psych Ds. But again, the core group is the MD, PharmD, PhD. In terms of my journey, I'm a PhD by training. My background's in biochemistry, biomolecular chemistry, chemistry education. And I actually, when I left school, I don't know what I was going to do. I actually started out as a teacher, a high school teacher. I taught high school chemistry and physics. Became a professor. I wasn't sure what was going to happen. Met a girl, like a lot of good stories, and she said, "Hey, you know what? You'd be great working as a pharma rep in pharma." And I was like, "What is that? What do they do?" This is back in the late '90s, and I started out as a pharma rep, and that's really what began my career
Wow.
in the industry. Started in sales, eventually transitioned to the medical world, medical affairs, and did really well. Was very successful as an MSL. Um, I just had a knack for it, and actually, and became the MVP of MSLs at Abbott. I was voted the number one MSL for 2 years in a row by my KOLs, by my team members. Just, I love the role. I love the data, the scientific part of it. Love scientific storytelling. Eventually became a leader in these different companies. I worked at companies like Abbott, Boehringer Ingelheim, Merck, BioVale, all these companies, Gilead Sciences, and just really was able to throughout the years gain leadership positions. And then what really changed my life was I got a job offer with a company called Viva, which is a Silicon Valley based company. So where all those Silicon Valley tech companies are, Facebook, Google, right, Twitter, all these now X, all these companies. So I worked out at Silicon Valley with Viva. Was the first science person to work at Viva, And my mandate from the founders was to grow the medical affairs business and arm for their company. And that's really where I got to work with all the top pharma companies. And from there, I kind of went the entrepreneurial route and eventually founded the ACMA, which stands for the Accreditation Council for Medical Affairs, the first ever accrediting body in the pharma industry. Before we existed for 250 years, the pharma industry had no accrediting body, and then we came into existence in 2015. And like I said, now it's been 10 years, and it's been a great journey to be able to see all the work that we've done with hundreds and hundreds of pharma companies. And like I mentioned, thousands and thousands of learners in 80 countries. We have an office now in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. We've had offices in Mumbai. We've had offices in Dubai. We've had offices in Brazil. It's been a great journey, and working with people from around the world, it's just been so rewarding to see people grow their careers, see companies grow and develop, and try to do the right thing for patients.
Absolutely. What a journey and how much impact. That's really incredible to see the global impact. And this leads me to perfectly to my last question, which is based on all this experience you've had in the business, in the inside, and now training and all the accreditation, all the programs you have, what is your proposal if you had a way to redesign the healthcare system we have today? How would you propose one idea you have to redesign it?
Excuse me. I think that the biggest thing in the healthcare system that's been a bottleneck for a lot of what we want to do are the pharmacy benefit managers. And President Trump, I talked about that in his first term. It's coming up now with RFK Jr. I think the challenge is, how do we use the pharmacy benefit managers without it being a stumbling block that raises cost? Ultimately, the pharmacy benefit managers, they live off of rebates, and those rebates drive cost. And we've seen that. When the Senate a few years ago brought in a lot of the pharma CEOs, they talked about this openly. So I think our healthcare system in America, look, it's one of the best healthcare systems in terms of quality of care. There's no doubt about that. America is one of the best in the world. But I think when it comes to drug pricing and when it comes to standards, we need to look at, how do we implement standards in a benchmark? How do we curb pricing? I think on the pricing end, it's looking at the pharmacy benefit manager's role. And I think on the benchmarking end, in terms of benchmarking standards of competencies for pharma reps, for medical liaisons, for field reimbursement professionals, we need to make it not a nice to have, but a need to have. So my message to anybody listening out there, if you're a pharma CEO, if you're a pharma senior executive, it's really your responsibility to your patients to implement accreditation and certification. It's not a nice to have. And my question would be, why not do it? Why not make sure that your team is benchmarked to industry standards of excellence? There's no downside to it. We do it in other industries, right? If you're an accountant, you got to be certified. If you're a doctor, you've got to be licensed. If you're a pharmacist, you've got to be licensed. But why is it that in the industry that we work in pharma, why don't we have these requirements? And I think we do. And that's what the ACMA is here to do.
That's incredible. That's a great proposal. I hear about PBMs and the rebates and costs and all of that. And it's very important to be more educated, being in the healthcare field, but learning from you. This is incredible. Where do you, if anyone wanted to reach out to you, how do you recommend they find you? What's the best way?
So, you can reach me on social media, on my Instagram channel, my TikTok channel. Maybe you could put a link below to that on my YouTube
Yes.
channel. So Instagram, TikTok, and my LinkedIn as well as YouTube, I'm there. And I try to respond to all the messages. But it's a great place to if you're interested in this topic, to follow me. I would urge people out there to look me up on TikTok and reach out. I try to put a lot of good content out there that resonates around healthcare policy, pharma, biotech, MSLs, reps, all things related to that area. So definitely make sure that you reach out to me.
You are accessible and relevant, and it's amazing. You're making impact. It's been a pleasure to chat with you. Everyone should follow Dr. William Solomon, doing a lot of big things, a lot coming out in the future too. So thank you. Thank you for being a guest. Until next time, everyone, may you all be healthy, wealthy, and wise. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Jen. Thanks for having me.